Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the NMU Board of Trustees to order. Secretary Andrew, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Young.
Present?
Trustee Hart.
Here.
Trustee Mahaney.
Here.
Trustee Savoy.
Here.
Trustee Fatante.
Here.
Trustee Morgan.
Here.
Trustee Sepinen.
Here.
And Trustee Holmquist.
Here.
We have a quorum present with all trustees.
Thank you. I'd like to do a couple of things before we get on to the approval of the agenda. I want to welcome Missy Holmquist. I think this is her first official meeting of the board. She just became an official member of our board in, I think it was April 18th. So welcome and thanks for being here and being on board.
Yes, thank you so much. Excited to serve.
Thank you. I'd also like to take a second to introduce some people in our audience here that are former trustees that are with us and enjoying the spring commencement weekend. We had dinner last night. We had a great opportunity to interact with some of our former trustees. So we have Steve Adamini is here, who is a former member. Steve Mitchell is here. Scott Holman and Rick Pop. And also Thomas Zerbuchen is here as well as former members. So welcome, and it's like there's no pressure on us for you guys being here, you know. So we'll do the best we can. So I'd like to ask for a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented.
Chair Young, I'd like to move to amend the agenda to include the following items. The Northern Michigan University Faculty Association, MAHE, MEA, NEA negotiated contract. Second, the Northern Michigan University Interim Strategic Plan. And third, a statement by the Board of Trustees Chair.
Thank you, Alexis. Is there any discussion? Do we need a second? Sorry.
Support.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I think we do this on a voice vote. So all in favor of the amending the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? The agenda is amended. Now, we also need to have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'd like to move to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Support.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. I'd like to now call on President Schuling for a moment of silence.
It is my honor to recognize the life of former Northern Michigan University President John X. Jamrich, who passed away at the age of 101 on February 20th. Dr. Jamrich was Northern's 8th president, serving from 1968 until his retirement in 1983. His 15-year tenure, the third longest of any NMU president, was marked by tremendous growth in enrollment, academic programs, and community outreach. During his time as president of NMU, he conferred degrees to 24,000 graduates. In fact, Dr. Jamrich was the president who handed me my degree when I graduated from Northern in 1973. His accomplishments were great, and his legacy endures in the form of rigorous academic programs, autonomous student life, and substantial investments in infrastructure. During his tenure, President Jamrich supported the development of programs in nursing, criminal justice, and computer science, as well as our OTC programs. He led the construction for the Learning Resource Center, now known as Hardin Hall, and of the Jacobetti Complex, the PEEF, Cohodes Hall, and K House. Dr. Jamrich was at Northern's helm when the university established new university and business partnerships, underwent union organization of both staff and faculty, saw the start of women's athletics, worked with students protesting issues around diversity, and near the end of his term, worked through financial hardships because of severe state budget cuts. According to Dr. Jamrich, one of his most treasured memories as NMU president was celebrating the 1975 football team's NCAA Division II National Championship. Northern remained an integral part of Dr. Jamrich's life following his retirement. An outstanding pianist, he wrote a 10-minute composition for NMU's centennial celebration in 1999. He and his wife, June, who passed away in April 2020, were longtime philanthropic supporters of NMU. They established the John X. and June A. Jamrich Endowed Music Scholarship and the John X. and June A. Jamrich Family Art Endowment. They also supported many other scholarships and funds over the years, including the Center for Upper Peninsula Studies, the DeVos Art Museum, NMU Athletics, just to mention a few. A native of Muskegon Heights, Michigan, Dr. Jamrich was the child of Slovakian immigrants, and he spent a portion of his childhood in his parents' native country. He was fluent in 5 languages, was a World War II Army veteran, a trained meteorologist, a highly sought-after expert in higher education, a dedicated lifelong learner, and an NMU Wildcat to the very end. Please join me in having a moment of silence to honor Dr. John X. Jamrich. Thank you.
Thank you, President Schuling. I'd like to now call on Provost Capella for another moment of silence, please.
I request a moment of silence for Jaden Hill, who died on April 3rd, 2022. She was born in Liberia, Africa, and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Jaden transferred to NMU in January as a freshman. She was a political science major and planned to become a civil rights lawyer. Jaden was a sprinter on the NMU women's track and field team. Please join me for a moment of silence for Jaden. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Capella.
Chair Young, I have one more, please. I would like to request a moment of silence for student Naftali Hernandez, who died on February 3rd, 2022. Naftali was from Wyoming, Michigan. She was an entrepreneurship major in the College of Business after earning her Associates of Science degree in Waubonsee Community College. Naftali was hoping to become the first in her family to earn a bachelor's degree. She dreamed of creating a job placement agency for people of color and other disadvantaged individuals. Please join me for a moment of silence for Naftali. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Capella. Is there anyone that would, Secretary Andrew, if we have anyone who would like to, is requested to speak to, address the board? Excuse me.
We have several. Beginning first would be Dr. Dwight Brady, please.
Well, good morning. In my final address as president of the NMU AAUP, I would like to talk about transparency. It seems to kind of be the theme of the weekend here. So, anyway, we know that it's very vital to building trust and invites collaboration versus confrontation. I know this has been a guiding philosophy of President Schuling, and I certainly hope we will emphasize this trait as we seek out a new president for
Good morning.
NMU.
In my final address as president of the NMU AAUP, I would like to talk about transparency.
It's a gift. What can I say? You know, all right. So. So what does transparency look like from the vantage point of the NMU AAUP? Well, we believe, of course, that it is important to have access to the same data that the administration has in making important decisions. Most recently, we asked for access to Coupa HR data on demand, and this request is still pending and hopefully will be resolved very soon. I also believe that transparency is more than just access to data. It's access to each other. And of course, this took place at the end of the fall semester where faculty and staff and members of the administration and the board, we got together for this dinner event, and it was a great opportunity to meet and not only talk about workplace issues, but to talk about our families and to talk about things that are important to us. And I know, Gavin, you and I, we shared a lot of old war stories from our glory days. You playing hockey, me playing football, and I'm sure a lot of those stories were kind of augmented over time, but it was still great to meet in that setting. However, as Chairman Young has pointed out, one dinner will not heal every wound and build the type of trust that is necessary to fully collaborate. And I also recognize that transparency is a two-way street, and that the AAUP can do more to open up our social gatherings and some of our meetings to members of the administration and the board. So with this call to transparency, I leave this position after 2 years of a pandemic and 2 years of back-to-back negotiations, and in full transparency, I will say that I am exhausted. And I now welcome my successor, Rick Mengen, here. He's going to do a fantastic job, and I wanted Rick to share a few words with the remainder of my time. Rick?
Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you, Dwight. And real quick, because I know we only have about 30 seconds left, I just want to say thank you again for taking some time to meet with me yesterday, inviting me out. It was really great, and I think perfectly aligned with what we're all looking to do here, of have a great place for all of us to work and live and support our community and get to know each other and just do what's right. So I look forward to the next couple of years of working with all of you in the new administration and current administration, and a special thank you to all of the interims that are in this room right now too, just rolling with it and really making a big difference with some of the unexpected changes that have been going on. So thank you all once again, and see you next time.
Thank you. And Dwight, we appreciate your service. And Rick, we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Rachel May via Zoom.
Hi, I'm here with Shilpa Jobalia, who was planning to say a couple of words. She's able to be in the room. I have COVID, so I'm home. So we're hoping that Shilpa could start and then I could speak.
Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Shilpa Jobalia, and I'm a community organizer and parent liaison for Great Start Collaborative Marquette. Associate Professor Dr. Rachel May and I currently co-chair the Nmu Early Childhood Education Task Force, partnering with Nmu faculty, students, and staff alongside early childhood education experts in the community. I'd like to acknowledge the support of our community today and ask them to stand in solidarity to show how important this is to the health of our community. Thank you for coming. We are here to request your commitment to establish an early childhood education center and learning lab at Northern, along with a temporary solution to be implemented by this fall. In keeping with NMU's commitment to sustainability, our center would be environmentally focused. One way to help fund this center is to utilize a model many university centers are using, which is to collaborate with Head Start and Great Start Readiness programs. Both Community Action Alger Marquette and Marisa are eager to collaborate with Northern. Dr. Rachel May is going to join us now to elaborate more on the solutions to the childcare crisis in the UP.
May I share my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you again for granting us this time to address the board. We appreciate the time that Provost Dale Kapla has devoted to the Tri-Share program and this on-campus early childhood education initiative, and to President Schuling for her support, as well as to Ria Deaver. We appreciate that the board has devoted time to conversations around this issue in the last several months as well. As the academic year winds down and the state grants become available later this summer, we wanted the opportunity to address the board ourselves. We're asking for your support to establish an on-campus center as well as a temporary solution as we build the center. We've learned that in the last 20 years, many NMU employees have asked for on-campus childcare. The UP has experienced a childcare crisis for more than a decade, and since the pandemic, the situation has become critical. My own experience has led me here. As an NMU employee and creative writer, I should be researching a 19th century scientist right now, not devoting 10 hours a week to the childcare crisis. But it's the only way I found to direct my sense of disappointment that I wasn't able to provide all that I'd imagined for my son. I hope you can't hear Curious George in the background right now. I spent the first year and a half of his life pre-pandemic working a more than full-time job with 20 hours of nanny care. I'd grade and prep and write during his naps and after bedtime. When he was a toddler, I'd leave him at the YMCA's Tot Watch and type alongside all the sweating people running and lifting in the gym. I brought him to department meetings thanks to my very patient colleagues who often entertained him, and I slept very little. My experience is not unique, though the crisis isn't immediately visible across campus. Right now, as you read in the results of our task force's recent survey, more than 90 children of NMU faculty staff are in need of care. Many of their parents are doing the same juggle. Some are passing the baby back and forth between partners with different work shifts. Others are leaving their kids with their own parents who would have preferred to enjoy their retirement with a little more peace and quiet. Still others have been forced to leave their jobs entirely or to leave Marquette for a place with more options. While the impact on our families is compelling, as scholars and business leaders recently wrote in the Harvard Business Review, quote, when weighed against the cost of finding and hiring new employees, the investment in keeping parents employed by offering childcare proves its value. They note that childcare is not a family issue, it's a business issue. It affects how we work, when we work, and for many, why we work. Moving forward, employer-provided childcare could also influence where we work. Employers that provide high quality care will not only differentiate themselves from the competition, but also create a sticky benefit that fosters retention. Employees are less likely to move to a new job if it also means moving their childcare from an environment they love and trust. So Christine Stern and Assistant Professor Joshua Ingber put together a financial analysis of the issue. And I also want to thank Dr. John Barch, and Dr. Corey Togel for facilitating the survey that we sent out to faculty staff. If we don't commit to childcare at NMU, we're still making a choice, and that choice comes with costs. We can think of those costs as the cost of turnover related to folks who leave NMU due to childcare. So we did some analysis to make this illustrative. We don't have access to the numbers like turnover and why people leave NMU, but with a few assumptions, we can roughly guesstimate. We began with public data from Univstats. Because there are 296 faculty with an average salary of $77,408 and 896 total staff with an average salary of $55,813, that means there's roughly a rough salary expenditure of about $73 million a year. We couldn't get the makeup of faculty childcare needs, so we used Marquette's demographics. 20.86% of Marquette's population have children. Of that, 5.4% have children in kindergarten or younger, or 1.13% overall. So if we take that 1.13%, which is the 28.86 times 5.4%, assuming of course that Marquette's demographics are representative of NMU, then $821,464 in salary are allocated to NMU faculty staff with children in this age range. So again, this is a loose methodology, but it's illustrative if we applied the expected turnover cost to affected salaries. You'll see what we mean. First, Bloomberg News did a survey across all universities reporting that 39% of higher education employees plan to quit their jobs. This is not a yearly number, but an estimate of what schools can expect over the next few years. In addition, Zippia.com, a human resources survey website, reports that the cost of hiring is approximately 40% of the employee's salary. If we apply these figures to the total salary of NMU faculty staff with early childcare needs, and assume that 39% of them leave with childcare as a major contributor, we get 40.40, that calculation, $128,000 approximately, which will be spent on faculty turnover due to missing childcare. Thus, no commitment is still costly. There are other benefits to NMU as well. Michigan Tech has successfully run their center, Little Huskies, for the last 20 years using Gretchen's House, a management company with a reputation for providing high quality NAEYC certified care, which the university views as a recruitment and retention tool. They subsidize their center with $250,000 a year, which they never use, but continuously roll over and invest. Most of that subsidy goes towards hiring staff who are paid a fair salary with university benefits and opportunities for advancement, along with continuing education. And in addition to retaining and recruiting faculty and staff, the annual cost would be offset by the potential for student recruitment and retention. Recent studies show that nearly 4 million US undergraduate students, or 22%, are raising children while attending a post-secondary education program, according to their most recent data. More than half, 53%, are raising a child under the age of 6. One study found that high quality care provided or by or partnered with college and university campuses might be a key to the retention dilemma for non-traditional students with young children. The study cited Western Michigan University as one model that offers an early childhood education center with a learning lab where students can learn on site. This model offers our departments across campus the chance to collaborate and use the site as an educational resource with external funding from foundations like the National Institute for Health, National Science Foundation, and others. Western also takes advantage of C Campus, a federal program that provides funding for all Pell eligible students. In Marquette, we don't currently have any qualifying centers for the C Campus program. With the anticipated drop in enrollment that we see coming, the cost of providing an on-campus center will be offset by the enrollment of student parents, those 4 million across the nation. Student parents are typically high achieving, and research shows that offering high quality, affordable childcare on campus increases their retention and graduation rates. This summer, we have the opportunity to apply for $100 million in funding from the state to support startup and facility costs for new centers. That's not the only available funding source. If NMU commits to the annual cost of helping to subsidize the center, we can reach out to private donors and apply for other private grant opportunities from foundations such as Kellogg and others. As it involves academic programs, the new center could be folded into the existing capital outlay projects, or we could explore using the President's House or another site that can accommodate our need. We would like to bring on Gretchen's House to start managing startup for a temporary solution this fall in a site that's offered us several classrooms near campus as we build a long-term solution of an on-campus center. We very much hope that you'll commit to this endeavor, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Eben Shambo and Lizzie Stark.
Hi, my name is Eben Shambo, and this is Lizzie Stark, and we're here to share with you our research in carbon sequestration and its implications for NMU's carbon neutrality goal. So the goals for this research were to identify which species of tree on campus were able to sequester the most amount of carbon based on sampled carbon storage. Also promote carbon mitigation practices to encourage sustainable initiatives involving green spaces on campus, and assist NMU grounds crew in caring for current trees on campus and planning for the future. The way we went about this is we worked with Jim Toms to get access to the Survey 123 app, along with the NMU Tree Survey GIS map. This allowed us to use tools to spatially track our data. Hopefully we have the handouts with you. You can see the little graph on the side. Then we collected data for each tree, the diameter, breast height, species, condition of the tree, etc. And with this data and help from Dr. Van Grinzen, we used a tool developed by the U.S. Forest Service to calculate carbon stock over 132 trees that we sampled on campus.
So we came up with our top stores as oak, white pine, and blue spruce. The graph that you see there on the bottom, it represents the average CO2 stored by each individual species that we surveyed. Out of the 132 trees that we surveyed alone, they can collectively sequester about 645,000 pounds of carbon when fully grown. That's only a small fraction of all the trees on campus and any land that NMU owns. That 645,000 pounds is approximately equal to the amount of carbon dioxide that is emitted by 264 passenger cars per year. And after completing this research, we want to recommend that Northern Michigan University becomes a recognized tree campus. Tree Campus Higher Education is a Arbor Day Foundation program that has been working to recognize green efforts made on college campuses and universities all over the United States. There are currently 392 campuses that are already recognized and over 32,000 students involved in the U.S. Becoming one of these campuses would help NMU promote sustainable initiatives, tree quality over tree quantity, and work towards our 2050 carbon neutrality goal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next is Dr. Sarah Middelfelt.
Hello, I'm Sarah Middelfelt. I'm a professor in the Department of Earth, Environmental, and Geographical Sciences. I've also served as the co-chair of the Sustainability Advisory Council since 2016, and I'm currently working on the Carbon Neutrality Task Force. And I just wanted to come and thank you and thank my students, Eben and Lizzie, for giving me the inspiration to do what I do every day. Really awesome. They see a problem, a global giant problem like climate change, and they look at how can we come up with local, tangible solutions that are place-based to address these giant global challenges. So I'm really grateful that Lizzie and Eben were brave enough to come up here and present their research they did in the senior seminar. And I also wanted to provide just a quick update on sustainability efforts across campus, because there's a lot of really exciting things happening. Despite the enormous challenges of the last 2.5 years, there really is amazing work happening, and I want to ask for your continued support. So one of the big things we worked on this year for the Sustainability Council was implementing our Green Fund. As you might recall, the board passed a $5 fee that all students pay into this fund that's used for student-led, student-initiated projects around sustainability. And so this was our first year of implementing that Green Fund, and we had received 13 proposals. 5 of them were recommended for advancing. So over the summer, we will start to see a campus-wide composting program, solar power on campus, clover lawns that are going to be implemented over by West Hall that's coming down, some rain gardens, and beekeeping on campus. These were all student ideas. Really, they got grant writing experience, writing proposals, and all of these were approved by Executive Council and will begin over the summer. So we're really excited to see some of these changes on campus. Second, there was a student-led group called Divest Nmu this year that researched Nmu's investment portfolios, and they came up with the recommendation that Nmu stop new investment in fossil fuel ventures and fully divest from the fossil fuel companies we're currently invested in by 2028, with a 50% divestment by 2025. And the Sustainability Council voted to support those recommendations. It's a critical component of the shift to the clean energy economy, and it's consistent with our goal of carbon neutrality by 2050. Finally, since 2016, my colleagues and students and I have been working really at the grassroots, doing some applied research, as you saw from Lizzie and Eben today. And it's not just in EAGS, it's in campus, it's in the arts, in business. And my colleague, Jessica Thompson, who I've been working very closely with since 2016 on sustainability, she submitted a proposal for SHINE, the Sustainability Hub for Innovation and Environment. And we see this as the opportunity to really take sustainability efforts from the great work that's happening across campus to outreach in the community and more research opportunities. And so we submitted a proposal in fall that the finance and planning will be reviewing. We've been working with Dave Nyberg and the foundation to try to also secure external funding for these efforts. But again, SHINE, I think, is the next step for Northern, and as we're thinking about sustainability into the future. And it's part of our interim strategic plan, which you saw, that's going to really help, I think, take Northern's reputation as a leader in sustainability to the next level. So I've been told there's going to be further discussion about our proposal, and we thank you for your continued support, and we hope that we can work together to make NMU become a more sustainable campus in the future. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments. I do want to comment specifically on the Childhood Education Center. We had the opportunity to hear an update this morning from Rhea Deaver as well as Dale Kapla. This has been an ongoing topic that we've been discussing, and we're clearly aware of the need and appreciate the research that was shown. It is, I think, an attraction and retention topic, as well as the insight that it's having a larger impact also on our underrepresented students. So we will continue to look at this topic. So thank you all.
Thank you, Trustee Hart. Anybody else have any comments? I'm going to move up to the podium here for the next segment. I'm really pleased today to be able to share, or the board is really pleased to be able to share 2 really great stories. And so we're going to start with, first, if we could have Andrej and Heidi And is Forrest here with us yet? Okay. Come on up. We'll do it without him. So this is it's a real honor for me to be able to do this today. We're recognizing our NCAA champion swimmer, Andres Zach, who won the men's 1,650-yard freestyle at the Division II National Meet, which was just held in March of 13, a few weeks ago. Andres is a top-ranked distance swimmer in the country this year, capped his season with a national title in the longest event of the meet. His time of 15 minutes, 9.55 seconds, broke his previous record, I believe, that he held, previous school record set at last year's NCAA champions, where he was the runner-up. This year, Andres pulled away from the field at the halfway mark of the race and never looked back. And he won by 4 seconds, which those of you that do racing, that's like unbelievable margins. His coach, Heidi Voigt, who's up here with him, said of this race, it was a beautiful swim. Andres set his pace of 55 seconds each 100 and never slowed down. No one else could stay at his pace. I loved watching everyone in the pool just fall farther away. Can't say it any better than that. He also earned All-American status with 7th place in the 1,000-yard free with a time of 9 minutes, 8.07 seconds. Overall, the Wildcat women finished the NCAA championship in 13th place, and the men in 18th. NMU earned 13 All-American honors and 16 honorary All-American honors awards at the competition. Coach Voigt also said of Andres, "Never have I coached a more humble and grateful athlete. He is a caring teammate and always ready for a challenge in the pool." I'm excited by his studies here at NMU. He likes to learn about psychology and physiology of coaching swimming, as he would like to be a coach someday. So we have a lot of fun discussions, and that's what Heidi had to say about him. Should also mention that a few weeks after this, that he set the NCAA records, he traveled to Florida to compete in the open water national championships, where he finished 6th in both the 5 and 10-kilometer distance races. Andres was a junior in eligibility this year, but is a first-year graduate student academically, studying exercise science. He's also a native of the Czech Republic and was a member of the 2021 Czech national swim team. Andres, Coach Voigt, have joined us today, and on behalf of Northern Michigan, congratulations on your national title. Andres, it's an honor to have you here, and I just have to kind of put this in perspective for those of us that aren't swimmers, but I'm trying to think, okay, he swam at 1,650 yards is about a mile for all practical purposes, and he did that in a little over 15 minutes. So think about that. I walk, Tricia and I walk, and when we walk, if we can do a 20-minute mile walking, we're impressed with ourselves. So I don't know how you can swim a 15-minute mile. It just blows me away. But so honored to have you here and to be able to shake hands with a national championship. And Heidi, it's great to have you here too. So thank you. And we're going to, I think they can stick around with the full board, just so you know, we're going to try and get pictures with Andres and some of our other guests here today. So it's not going to just be me. I'm going to make sure all of you get your picture with them. So thanks again for being here. Appreciate it, and congratulations. This next one is also an amazing story, and I'm pleased to be able to offer it and to talk about it. We have several people here, and I think what we'll do is, if I can, since we have so many people, is we're going to go through a list of some of the individuals involved in this situation, have you stand up, and we can recognize you, and then have you sit down, because I'm going to talk for a few minutes. I don't want to feel awkward standing up for 4 or 5 minutes here. So on behalf of Northern Michigan University, I want to acknowledge the following individuals: John Mara, Phil Lindblom, Jacob Paupur, Kaylee Matson, Lee Gould, the NMU Police Department, the Marquette City Police Department, the Marquette City Fire Department, the Marquette City Central Dispatch, and the UP Health Systems EMS. All of these people responded to a medical call on campus on March 25th, 2022. Their quick actions provided life-saving techniques until more advanced medical care could be provided and saved the life of Stephanie Penhale, our Director of Network Infrastructure Center. So I'll get into more of that, so I want to give everybody a round. Thank you so much. And I want to read a statement that Stephanie has provided about that day. On Friday, March 25th, I lost consciousness, stopped breathing, and my heart stopped beating in my Cohodes office. My colleagues, Philip Lindblom, Jacob Popar, John Marr, and student employee Kaylee Matson were quick to respond. They called 911 and began life-saving measures. Chocolate Township Fire Chief and NMU's Associate Director of Safety, Lee Gould, heard the call, responded within minutes, and took charge of the scene. Marquette City Police Department, Marquette Fire, NMU Police Department, and the Marquette General Hospital EMS were also on hand and on the scene very quickly. While I remember nothing of the event itself, what I heard in the days and weeks that followed was how lucky I am, how lucky I had so many people who quickly responded, how lucky I am that I had trained people that performed life-saving measures, how lucky that I received rapid care from everyone around me that allowed me to beat the odds and be here today. I would like to say thank you to all these people who helped me make me the luckiest person on March 25th. So again, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and Northern Michigan University, I want to commend the quick actions of those individuals which we just discussed and the departments in their response in saving the life of one of our own, Stephanie. Stephanie and daughter Lily have joined us today to help us thank the rescuers who were able to also join us today. And so Stephanie, are you here? And Lily, can you stand up so we can, all right, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate that. I'd like to recognize at this time Chris Greer, Dr. Chris Greer, who will be introducing our Board of Trustees Student Achievement Award recipients. And I think Jason's gonna help out with this too.
Jason's going to be in all the pictures.
All right, yay.
First, I just want to say these are very abbreviated introductions of these accomplished students. More information about each student will be presented at the luncheon today. First, Valletta Gage. Come on up. Valletta is one of our outstanding graduating seniors. Val came here in fall 2018 from Sault Ste. Marie. Her major is Speech, Language, and Hearing Sciences with a minor in Business Administration. Val was a leader of Marquette Ending Hunger and the National Student Speech, Language, and Hearing Association. She was also actively involved in the Wesley campus ministry. Val was a resident advisor and an orientation staff member for one summer. Val completed all 4 edges of the Superior Edge program and was in the Student Leader Fellowship program. Val will graduate summa cum laude tomorrow. She will attend Central Michigan University for a master's in Communication Sciences and Disorders. Congratulations, Val. You can go. Okay, Jacob Lippert, our second outstanding graduating senior. Jacob is from Green Bay, Wisconsin. His major is history with a minor in German studies. Jacob was in the Freshman Fellows Undergraduate Research Program and the NMU Honors Program. He will graduate with full honors. Jacob has been a member of the Quiz Bowl team and the Mortarboard Honor Society. He completed the Student Leader Fellowship Program and all 4 edges of the Superior Edge program. Jacob will graduate summa cum laude. He has received a Fulbright grant to be an English teaching assistant in Germany. Congratulations, Jacob. Veronica Line. Veronica is the outstanding student of any class. Veronica started at NMU in fall 2017 as a Hardin Scholar. She is from South Range, Wisconsin. She was part of the Freshman Fellowship Program and the Honors Program and will graduate with full honors. Her major is biology with a concentration in physiology. Her minor is Spanish. Veronica was part of the Freshman Fellowship Program and did research through the Upper Michigan Brain Tumor Center, where she has been a student member throughout her time here. Veronica was a member of the Quiz Bowl team. She was a member of the Pre-Medical Club, Mind Your Health Student Organization, Best Buddies, the Diversity Student Alliance, and Mortarboard Honor Society. Veronica will graduate summa cum laude. She will be applying to medical schools in the coming year. Congratulations, Veronica. Matthew Goss. Matt is originally from Rising Sun, Maryland, which we laughed about because he's practically next door to me, where I grew up. He came to Northern after serving in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Air Force. He earned an associate degree from NMU in building technology and then moved on to the bachelor program in construction management. Matt assisted the construction management program in developing an initiative to advertise the program to veterans. Matt has also been involved in local politics. Matt and his wife will be moving to North Carolina, where he will be the senior field engineer for the Whiting Turner Construction Company, working with their federal group in Camp Lejeune Marine Corps Base. Congratulations, Matt. And Claudia Chavez Rhodes, outstanding Global Campus student. Claudia is originally from Southgate, California, and now resides in Marquette. She is earning her degree in Applied Workplace Leadership through the Global Campus. Claudia first attended NMU more than 15 years ago and began her working career as a licensed practical nurse in pediatrics. She is a certified health coach and is certified in mental health first aid. She is now the clinical coordinator for the Physician Group Incentive Program of the UP Health Group. Claudia will graduate magna cum laude. She is hoping to attend graduate school virtually through Michigan State University in the area of leadership, management, and strategy. Congratulations, Claudia.
Go green. Thank you and congratulations to all of our recipients. It's great to see everybody. Now I'd like to call on Interim Provost Capella for our introduction of our commencement speakers.
Thank you. In keeping with that theme of our impressive students, Chairman Young, members of the Board of Trustees, President Schuling, one of the special components of tomorrow's graduation ceremony is the student speaker's commencement address. I am pleased to introduce the young woman who was selected as the student who will address the graduates tomorrow, Ms. Hannah Smith. Hannah, could you please join me at the podium? Hannah came to NMU from Waukesha, Wisconsin in the fall of 2018. She will graduate magna cum laude tomorrow with a degree in multimedia journalism and minors in public relations and photography. Hannah holds leadership positions in Marquette Ending Hunger, Public Relations Student Society of America, Lake Effect Public Relations, and the Women's Club Volleyball team. She has completed all 4 edges of the Superior Edge program. She was in the Student Leader Fellowship program. She did her community service work as a social media intern for Camp One Step, a nonprofit organization that gives kids with cancer a chance to go to camp. This is a mission for Hannah, as she is a survivor of childhood cancer. She plans to continue to give back to the organization. Hannah has also done social media work for NMU Athletics and Iron Bay Restaurant. She has worked with the Campus Visit Program and as a marketing assistant for NMU Marketing and Communications. After graduation, Hannah plans to take the summer off to travel and will do some freelance travel writing. She will also volunteer at Camp One Step. Hannah then plans to apply for jobs in the health communication and public relations fields. The theme of Hannah's address tomorrow is persevering through the pandemic to get to graduation. Chairman Young, I believe you have a presentation to make.
I'd like to now call on President Schuling to announce our 2022 commencement speaker.
I'd like to announce that Dr. Thomas Zerbuchen, a former trustee, is going to be our commencement speaker tomorrow, and he'll also be receiving an honorary doctorate of science. If you don't know Thomas, if you would mind standing so people can recognize you don't know Thomas. Thomas has been at NASA, and he's been there since 2016. I've heard him speak before. I can't wait to hear him tomorrow. He promises he's not going to mention COVID. So we look forward to that. Thank you, Thomas.
Yes, thank you. Welcome. And I'd like to call on Dr. Russ Minyaki for our NMU moment in history.
I arrived at Northern Michigan University in the fall of 1969 and had a front row seat of the Jamrich administration. In later years, I had the privilege of becoming his friend as university historian. I will share some of my fond memories of him. During World War II, he was stationed in Fairbanks, Alaska as a meteorologist who provided weather information to Soviet pilots ferrying planes from Alaska to the battlefront in Europe. The Army used him for this position because as a youth, although born in Muskegon Heights, Michigan, he grew up in Slovakia, spoke Slovak, a Slavic language like Russian, and could give the Soviet pilots technical weather information without use of a translator. In April 1945, Soviet Minister of Foreign Affairs Molotov was flying to San Francisco for the first meeting of the United Nations and the signing of the UN Charter. Soviet weathermen told Molotov he would be delayed and couldn't make the meeting. Jamrich entered the scene and told the Soviets they had a short weather opportunity, and Molotov arrived on time. The X middle initial came about when he needed an initial when he signed up for the U.S. Army. He took X as filler with no meaning or connection. His use of bow ties started after military service. The one he wore, which he was very proud of, to all 45 commencements is in the collection of the Beaumere Heritage Center on campus. He amazingly appeared on campus twice that I know of, out of a suit and bow tie. Once he was coming from a tennis match and needed to stop by his office. The other time he was in retirement when he came to campus in the summertime. John Jamrich loved music and was an excellent pianist. For a decade, he played concerts 5 days a week, 11:30 to 12:20, in the lobby of the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. He pointed out that he played more concerts than any other musician. Although arthritis brought regular piano playing to an end, he continued to play until he was 99 in the rest home. He was a recipient of a special composition. I was a recipient of a special composition that he produced honoring my retirement in 2014. On a personal note, when we were running in Jacksonville in 2013, he provided me detailed, and I mean detailed, weather reports, and even wrote a short song for Emily, my daughter, and I. He and June waited 3 hours, even though I told them not to, in the cold for me to finish the race, and then he invited me to their home for breakfast, which he cooked. It was an honor to be invited to write his biography, John X. Jamrich, The Man in the University. He played an important role, although at times controversial role, in developing the university campus following President Edgar Hardin. Hardin had been told by state legislators to either expand the campus and its community connection or close it. Jamrich continued to implement Hardin's work of building the campus. Buildings went up, but he also promoted programs, as we heard earlier, and the Native American Studies program was developed, and he also funded the Anishinaabe News, which ran from 1971 to 1983, and was at that time was one of 3 national Native newspapers in the United States. During his administration, it was amazing the number of national leaders in a variety of fields who were given honorary degrees. Many of them were Native Americans and Black Americans. Sometimes he would surprise you with his knowledge of campus life. When former President Gerald R. Ford came to campus, a group of us were waiting for breakfast. Suddenly, President Jamrich turns to me and says, "Dr. Minyaki, would you tell President Ford about the UP?" It was off the cuff, and I filled in the 5 minutes without a problem. After his retirement in 1983, he continued his love for Northern Michigan University, continuously followed the events on campus. It's interesting to note that over the years, he retained at least one dislike. In one of the last emails I received from him in the fall of 2021, he rather boldly complained that the American Association of University Professors was holding up the completion of a contract and not acting in the best interests of the university. So after some 56 years, he still did not like the union, and that was his closing remark, which I found interesting. It is little known that he was a religious man and regularly attended services at Messiah Lutheran Church. On a number of occasions that I know of, he intervened and helped faculty members who were having employment problems on campus. When we discussed this, he told me that he was following the golden rule to love your neighbor. Around 2012, he was on campus and visited me in my office. He was 92, and I asked him if he planned to attend the dedication of the new Jamrich Hall. He answered in the strong affirmative, which surprised me. Then he continued, he would be there in person or looking down from Park Cemetery. For an interesting look into the life of John X. and June Jamrich, I invite you to go to Park Cemetery, ask the sexton for the location, and check his rather unique gravestone of his wife and of he and his wife. Thank you.
We
with the teaser.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Dr. Minyaki. We always enjoy your history moments. I'd like to now call on Ms. Bethany Beavers, President of ASNMU, who will give us a report on ASNMU activities.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Bethany Beavers, and I was the president of ASNMU for the 2021-2022 academic year. And this is Zora Beinert, and she was elected president 2 weeks ago for the next academic year. So we're just going to talk about what the last semester has looked like and what we hope the next semester will look like. Okay, so looking back, a lot of the last semester has looked like continuing our projects and expanding our projects as much as we can. Some of you might have seen our COVID-friendly period project in the bathrooms and the jewelry hangers to reduce touch points, but we were recently given the okay to continue with the baskets as well. So we have a mix of those in bathrooms across campus. And this last semester, we really prioritized expanding this project into gender-neutral bathrooms and male bathrooms to be inclusive of the gender-neutral and trans community on campus. And we received a little bit of negative feedback from this, but obviously that doesn't mean this is something that we should just completely throw out the window. You know, we just have to get a little bit creative with that. So that's where we're at with that. We also have a career closet, which provides a free professional outfit per student per semester to those who need it. And this closet has been getting really involved with the College of Business this last semester, which, I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. And we also have a grad closet, and these are like our 3 big projects, I would say, that continue year to year. And this grad closet, we have also been expanding it. So if we have, 3 5-9 robes and like 4 students want them, we have the means to get the 4th robe. So we've been doing that just to serve as many students as we can. And I think this is the first semester that I've ever seen us do grad robes as well for the master's candidates. So that's really cool. I'm just glad that we're expanding this to serve as many students as we can. This last semester, we also hosted a couple of forums. We hosted a diversity forum with members of the community and of campus that represent different aspects of diversity, and just kind of talked about students who would want to get involved with promoting inclusion and equity on campus and where they can get started with that. So that was really cool. And we also had a university forum with members of NMU's administration and a couple of the board members, and just to kind of allow students to take their concerns directly to administration. ASNMU tends to serve as like the middleman, but we kind of recognize that that doesn't always mean that student concerns have to come through us. When creating opportunities for students to take their concerns to administration themselves is also really important. So that's what we were trying to do there. And if this were a repetitive thing, I think that that would be best because it would continue to hold administration accountable as well as giving students a place to voice themselves and express themselves, which will lead to student satisfaction and just an overall happier campus. So that was really cool to kind of get the ball rolling with that. We also charged our voter-friendly campus committee and our 2022 fall vote plan will be submitted to the Campus Vote Project probably within the next couple of weeks, so here soon. And I will be continuing that committee, so I'm pretty excited for that in the future. And then this semester we had a couple of conferences. We had our 1UP conference, which all of the student governments from the UP kind of get together and we just talk about student need at our various campuses and what students want to see and how we're addressing problems, and we just kind of like share ideas so we can continue to make each of our campuses a little bit better. And we had our United conference as well, which is the same thing but with all of the student governments in Michigan. So that was really cool, and we passed a lot of legislation at that. Too much to talk about here, but if any of you are curious, just like reach out to ASNMU because there's a lot of it. So yeah, that was it for our conferences. And then this semester, we've also prioritized outreach, and I think that Asnmu has done a lot of communicating with students this last semester than I've ever really seen before. Our social medias have really just, like, they've been really good this semester. We have a PR person doing our PR, and like it made a world of difference. So we've been doing that, and we also hosted a couple of career closet tables in Jamrich with just like a rack of clothes, just to kind of advertise this service to students, to be like, this is what we have. If you don't like anything here, we have a whole room of more clothes. So yeah, that's been really cool to see, and we got a lot of donations because of it and served a lot of students because of all of that. So yeah, it was a really successful semester, I would say. And then I have some pictures because I love pictures. And in this top one up here, this is the diversity panel panelists. So we have Emily on the far left. Yeah, you guys is left. And then we have Tyler LaPlante, who works for UP Healthcare Solutions. We have Freddie Sims, the CEO of Social Justice for Us. In the middle, we have Stephanie Vargas, who is the advisor for Q&A and also works in the SEEK. Then we have Haley Richards, who's a grad assistant in the SEEK. Then we have Amber Morso, who works with the Center of Native American Studies. And then on the very right is me. So, and then this bottom picture is our United conference. So you can see there's a lot of people there. Lots of ideas were shared. It was really successful. And then this upper right one is our 1UP conference. So yeah, that's about all I have.
All right, hello everyone. So I just wanted to talk about some of the goals that we have going forward for this next academic year. We want to continue to improve environmental sustainability efforts on campus, partnering with organizations like EcoReps, working with dining to minimize waste, stuff like that. We also would like to improve mental health resources available to students and help advertise those to students. I often find that students don't really know what all is available to them, so we want to help advertise that to them, as well as allowing them to meet with administration, counseling and consultation services to help expand what is offered to students. We also want to continue meeting with administration more frequently. I find that getting in front of administration and helping students communicate their concerns is more beneficial than just sending an email. Encouraging to speak with administration about what affects them the most. My vice president, Gwen, and I have talked about creating a hotline kind of avenue through our website that students can talk to us and have their concerns written down. So when we do meet with administration, we have some hard evidence to present to them instead of word of mouth. We would also like to work more closely with the student body, meeting with more student groups on campus, different student organizations, working with the residence halls, making sure that we are approachable to the student body and they're not scared of us because of our titles. Gwen and I have also talked about creating a retreat for the fall semester for all of our new representatives. We have a very small student government going forward, so working on recruitment efforts as well as kind of training people on what their different jobs are on campus, how they can be more approachable, going over Robert's Rules of Order, the bylaws, stuff like that. So we are looking forward to those kinds of things. I know that was super, super quick, but I will be available for questions and stuff after this. I'll be in the Asnmu office, so if anyone does have anything that they would like to ask me, I will be available.
Thank you. Any questions? Bethany, if you could stay up there for 1 second, we got a presentation for you. Anybody have any questions?
No, just a comment. I mean, I always love hearing all of the efforts and things that you're doing. So thank you for your passion and engagement. It's clear that you're committed to make the university and the lives of students better. So thank you for all you do.
Steve, just appreciation for Bethany's service here. I think you've been really engaging and active, and I really appreciate the effort to have more engagement with the board and with administration. I think that is extremely, extremely important, and hopefully what you've started here will continue going forward. So thank you so much.
Okay, Okay, what we just wanted to give Bethany this so everybody knows what it is. It's an embroidered NMU blanket presented to her on behalf of the NMU board. And Jason basically said what I was going to say. We appreciate all your efforts, and we wish you continued success. So,
Thank you.
here, good luck to you, too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your report. It's very good. Now I'm going to call on President Schuling for her report.
Okay, I'm going to update some more on some things that our amazing students have been doing. Carol Ells is a graduate student in Health and Human Performance, and she was the winner of Northern's 3-minute thesis graduate student competition in February. And so as a winner, she competed at the Midwest Association of Graduate School 3-minute thesis competition a few weeks ago, and she advanced to the finals, and she was one of 8 finalists out of 43 participants. If you've ever written a thesis and you try and talk about it in 3 minutes, you'll know that kind of pressure, and it's pretty impressive. This was something that our graduate dean started not too long ago. Senior economics major Max Steele was selected to speak at the Association for Private Enterprise Education Conference in April as part of the Young Scholars Program, and he worked with Assistant Professor Joshua Ingber on his research. We had 3 chemistry majors who recently presented their research at the National American Chemistry Society Conference in San Diego: Gino Pacifico, Tyler Watson, Haley Cooler-Weiser. Sophomore political science major Gwendolyn Beamster was one of 25 selected from more than 200 applicants to serve on the Michigan Department of State's Collegiate Student Advisory Task Force. The task force members will serve as civic engagement liaisons for their campuses and the Secretary of State's office throughout 2022. Very cool. Some faculty awards. We had 6 Northern undergraduate students and 1 graduate student who are participating in cutting-edge chemistry research with Professor Yu Leo Liu, who is among 14 faculty members nationwide who recently received 2-year summer research grants from Organic Synthesis Incorporated. And congratulations to Dr. Paul Mann on being the recipient of the 2022 Stephen Young and Tricia Kinley Distinguished Faculty Award, which is NMU's top honor for significant professional contributions to teaching, scholarship, and service. He'll be recognized at tomorrow's commencement ceremony. Paul has taken on many expanded roles beyond just teaching and being a department head. He's a member of the Upper Michigan Brain Tumor Center. He's involved in glioblastoma research, and he's also took on an expanded role as part of our COVID response team and COVID advisory team. His expertise has been vital into helping us assess what's going on and in implementing mitigation efforts. We sincerely thank him for his work at Northern over the past years, and especially during the pandemic. We had many faculty award recipients for excellence in teaching, scholarship, environmental work, and emerging leadership, and online teaching awards, and we celebrated all of them recently. I also like to mention that Northern held the first of its kind Great Lakes Cannabis Education Conference on April 19th. The conference highlighted the best practices in cannabis teaching and research. We had 125 attendees, including many NMU students. Our social work students recently had a rare opportunity to participate along faculty members and community clinicians in a full day of assessing and managing suicide risk training on campus. More than half of the 45 attendees at the training were NMU students. Alumni shout out recognized 3 recent graduates whose Marquette-based startup, Kaylee Morris Incorporated, known as KMI, won a $10,000 grand prize in a national virtual pitch competition put on by Rural Innovation Strategies Incorporated for research on aerospace technology. And in athletics, another congratulations shout out to NMU National Training Site weightlifting team that won the University National Championship Co-ed Division title for a 2nd consecutive year. I also want to mention that women's basketball season coach Troy Mattson announced his retirement in June after 17 years leading the program and 40 years at Northern Athletics. So congratulations to Coach Troy Mattson for an outstanding NMU career. I also want to remind or let everyone know, in case you don't, that our campus is undergoing a mental health assessment by former trustee Jim Haveman. I really appreciate the fact that he is taking out his time and using his expertise and skills to do this. He's already here, already started. If you've worked with Jim, you know that he's a taskmaster. He doesn't rest. I will guarantee you, even though he loves the UP dearly and he is very favorable and compassionate and dedicated to NMU, he suffers no fools, and if his recommendations don't get implemented, I'll hear about it. So thank you, Jim. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Schuling, Dr. President Schuling. With the board's indulgence, if it's okay, I would like to move the trustee emeritus recognition up to the next item if we could. So that'd be Thomas needs to be at another engagement. So if we could move that up, if that's okay, we'll proceed. Okay, thank you. We're going to move it up, but I'm going to start with Rick Pop first. We have two former board members that we're we have bestowed trustee emeritus status to. Because of COVID and a variety of other reasons, we haven't been able to do it personally, but we're honored today to have both Rick Pop and Thomas Zurbuchen here so we can do that. Like I said, I'm going to start with Rick. So I'm going to read this, Rick, and take me a second, but I want to make sure I cover everything because he's had a great career here, and we're proud to do this honor. The trustee emeriti recognition is given to former trustees who have demonstrated complete devotion to NMU in several areas. The individual must have exhibited a willingness to give of themselves personally and financially, as well as a willingness to share their wisdom. That wisdom has to have produced positive results. Rick Pop has clearly demonstrated such attributes, and those of you know Rick, that's the positivity thing really is for sure. He's clearly demonstrated these attributes on behalf of NMU, which is why NMU Board of Trustees has voted to grant him emeritus status, and we did that at our February 14th, 2020 meeting, so it's been a couple years. Mr. Pop served as a distinguished member of the Northern Michigan University Board of Trustees from 2011 to 2018. During his tenure on the board, he served 2 terms as chair of the board, as well as vice chair of the board, chair of the Faculty Work Subcommittee, and oversaw a presidential search. He was also served as a member of the Academic Affairs Committee, Finance Committee, Executive Committee, Faculty Work Subcommittee, and an ex officio on the NMU Foundation Board. Rick continues to support Northerners and a longtime donor to the NMU Foundation, supporter of the NMU Alumni Foundation, and the athletics, including participating as master of ceremonies for several homecoming and NMU Sports Hall of Fame events. He presented at NMU's United Conference, has been a member of several search committees for various Wildcat coaching positions, and is a former chair of the NMU Alumni Association Board of Directors. Rick willingly shared his knowledge by offering wise advice and counsel, and there is no doubt he always has the best interests of Northern Michigan University at heart. Therefore, on behalf of the NMU Board of Trustees, it is my privilege and pleasure to present Rick with an engraved plaque in recognition of his distinguished service to NMU. As trustee emeritus, he is entitled to all the respect and privilege of the same. I extend our heartfelt thanks for his outstanding service to NMU. Thank you, Rick. And now we will do Thomas. Thomas Zurbuchen, like Rick Pop, has always clearly demonstrated the attributes required to receive trustee emeritus status, which is why on behalf of Northern Michigan University, the NMU Board of Trustees voted to grant him emeritus status at the February 14th, 2020 meeting. Dr. Zurbuchen served as a distinguished member of the Northern Michigan University Board of Trustees from 2013 through most of 2016 when he left to go to NASA. During his tenure on the board, he served as vice chair of the board, twice as chair of the Academic Affairs Committee, and was a member of the Executive Committee. Thomas continues to support Northern as a donor to the NMU Foundation and as an advisor for science and entrepreneurship initiatives at Northern. Thomas willingly shared his knowledge by offering wise advice and counsel, and there's no doubt he always has the best interest of NMU in the forefront. Therefore, on behalf of the NMU Board of Trustees, it's my privilege and pleasure to present Thomas with an engraved plaque in recognition of his distinguished service to Northern Michigan University. As trustee emeritus status, he is entitled to all the respect and privilege of the same. And on behalf of the board, I extend our heartfelt thanks for his outstanding service to Northern Michigan University. We'll be hearing more from Thomas at graduation. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call on Trustee Savoy to report on the Ad hoc Policy Review Committee meeting, please.
Thank you, Chair Young. This morning, the NMU Board of Trustees Policy Review Ad hoc Committee held its meeting. The meeting was convened at 9:02 by me. Present were Trustees Fatante and Morgan, ex officio members Young, Chair Young and President Schuling, and myself as chair. Other trustees present but not participating include Trustees Hart and Sepinen. Senior staff and council were also present. On the agenda, we looked at the non-represented employees handbook. The committee reviewed the recommended changes to the non-represented employee handbook. It was moved by Trustee Fatante and seconded by Trustee Morgan, and approved that the committee recommend the full board to approve the revised non-represented employee handbook. Our second agenda item was the employee non-discrimination policy. The committee was charged to work with Northern Michigan University administration to prioritize policies and procedures for updating and best practice considerations. The committee requests the administration review the current employee non-discrimination policy and go through the standard university process with the President's Council to review any recommended updates to allow adequate input from all the groups which represent the university constituencies, and report back to the committee the result of that process for our review in September. The committee meeting was adjourned at 9:05, and I'd like the record to reflect that that was a 3-minute meeting. Thank you.
It's a record. Might have been Chair Mahaney's finance committees, but thank you, Trustee Savoy. Now I'd like to call on Trustee Fatante for a report on the Academic Affairs Committee.
An Academic Affairs Committee meeting of the Board of Trustees of Northern Michigan University was held this morning, and it convened at 9:31 a.m. Committee members present were myself and Trustee Savoy. Also present was Chair Young, President Schuling, and Dr. Dale Kapla. The committee received informational reports and presentations on the following: Academic Senate, Charter Schools, Reauthorization and Update, Behavior Education Assessment and Research Center, the Bear Center, and new programs. The committee recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the following. After a motion duly made and seconded, this committee recommends to the Board of Trustees the reauthorization of South Point Scholars Public School Academy for a term of 5 years from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2027. This motion is part of the formal recommendations. After a motion duly made and seconded, the committee recommends to the Board of Trustees approval of the following programs: Workplace Intercultural Competency Certificate, Associate of Applied Science in Cannabis and Plant-Based Wellness Operations, Bachelor of Science in Controlled Environment Agriculture, Bachelor of Science in Dance, Bachelor of Arts in Data Science, Bachelor of Science in Data Science, and Applied Behavior Analysis Graduate Certificate. All new programs are effective in fall of 2022. This motion is part of the formal recommendations. The meeting adjourned at 10:45 a.m.
Thank you, Trustee Fatante. Now call on Trustee Mahaney for a report on the Finance Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Young. The meeting of the Finance Committee of the Board of Trustees of NMU convened at 4:04 p.m. Thursday, April 28th, in the Northern Center, Scott L. Holman Executive Conference Room.
Yay.
And there he is. It was convened by yours truly as chair. Also present at the meeting were members of the committee, Trustee or Vice Chair Hart and Trustee Sepinen, Board of Trustee members, and our ex officio member, of course, Chair Young, as well as Finance and Administrative Division staff. Although trustees were present at the meeting, only the committee members participated in the meeting. The committee accepted the following report and plan as written: the April 2022 Internal Audit Open Issues Report and the fiscal year 2022-23 Raymond Professional Services Plan. The committee recommended that the board approve the following, which are included in the board formals: the proposed room and board rates for fiscal year 2023, fiscal year 2022-23 continuing auxiliary operations budget, and all these are for that same fiscal year, a continuing housing and residence life budget, a continuing general fund budget, and a continuing designated fund budget. The committee also recommends that the board approves the major projects over $250,000, the sale of the K House property and structure at 1440 Center Street in Marquette, and 3 temporary liquor licenses. I regrettably must admit that our meeting adjourned at 4:29 p.m., which means if you do the math, Trustee Savoy beat me by 22 minutes. I concede defeat.
You're slipping. Thank you, Chair Mahaney. I would now like to call for a motion and a second to approve the formal recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? It's approved. I would now like to recommend, since we have a new trustee, as we talked about at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to put her to work right away. We got to put her on some committees. So I'm going to recommend that we add Trustee Holmquist to the Academic Affairs Committee and to the Ad Hoc Recruitment and Retention Committee, and I'd ask for a motion and a second to approve that appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? You can't comment, Missy. You can't get out of this. You're all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion's carried. Now to item 15. This is the revised 2022 Board of Trustees meeting schedule, and calls for dates in July 14th and 15th. And could I have a motion and a second to approve the revised meeting schedule?
I'd like to move that the Board of Trustees approved the revised 2002 Board of Trustees meeting schedule to include the July 14th and 15th dates of 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Greg. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. The motion carries. Item 16 is the NMU FA ratified contract. And if I could have a motion and a second, please.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the Northern Michigan University Faculty Association, MAHE, MEA, NEA, negotiated contract, which was ratified on Friday, April 22nd, 2022, covering the period July 1, 2022 through July 30th, 2027.
Is there any discussion?
Also.
Oh, second, sorry. Any discussion?
I'd like to thank everyone for their work on this. I know that negotiating these contracts can be long, although I understand that this was a very quick and very cordial negotiation. And so I really thank everyone for their work on this.
Thank you, Trustee Savoy. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Next is the interim strategic plan. And if I could get a motion in a second to approve the interim strategic plan.
Chairman Young, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the Northern Michigan University 2022 Interim Strategic Plan.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I'd like to save my comments for good of the order on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The next item is was added when we amended the agenda this morning, and I'd like to read a statement if I could. And this statement was prepared and reviewed and approved by the board, and I'd like to read it into the record if I could at this time. I'd like to take this opportunity as board chair to make a few comments. President Schuling has stepped up to the plate over the last few months to take on the role of interim president while we conduct our presidential search. Initially, we believed she would be in that role until spring or early summer. And for a variety of reasons, that timeline has changed, and we are now potentially looking at the end of the year for that timeline. Her tenure as interim president subsequently has gone from short-term to long-term. Carrie's done an outstanding job grabbing the reins and helping us move forward under challenging circumstances. She has pushed forward our agenda and worked with all parties involved to keep us operating at a very high level. She also has worked to prepare us for the future with our strategic plan, which we just approved. I want President Schuling to know she has the full support of this board. As a board, we are pleased with her performance to date and are solid in our belief that she is leading us in the right direction. As such, I would ask, moving forward, that we refer to her as President Schuling, and that all correspondence, printed or otherwise, reflect that. Let there be no confusion, though, and let me be crystal clear. This in no way changes our search for a replacement, which will continue unabated. It is our goal to have that position filled no later than the end of the year, and President Schuling is not a candidate in that search. This reflects our support of the job President Schuling has done and recognizes the extended timeline she is now operating under as our president. Thank you. Anybody have any additional comments to that?
Just second that, Steve.
Okay, all right, thank you, Greg. Okay, we did the emeritus stuff, so now we are about 15 minutes behind. Are we okay, Kathy? Oh, sorry. I missed the closed session announcement by Carrie. Sorry, Carrie.
Make that, well, first of all, thank you. I sincerely thank all of you. It's been wonderful working with all of you. I feel very, very supported, and I think faculty and students and staff have felt very supportive. So thank you. I would like to make an announcement of the informal session to be held in conjunction with the Thursday, Friday, July 14 and 15, and Thursday through Friday, September 22nd and 23rd, 2022 meetings of the board.
Thank you, President Schuling. So we're okay, Kathy? Okay. We're going to now go to the good of the order, and the way we do this is we're going to start with the Vice Chair, Hart, and then I think we decided we're doing it in order of seniority, not age, but seniority. So then we'll go to Tammy and then Bob down that way. So Trustee Hart.
Thank you, Steve. Just a couple of comments from my side. Room and board rates, when we met with the Finance Committee yesterday, a lot of, creativity and good financial stewardship to keep those room and board rates very low at 3.4%, considering the fact that the inflation on, I believe it's most of the food costs have gone up about 8%, and there was also a 0 increase last year. So Gavin, thank you and your team. The strategic plan that we saw yesterday is absolutely fantastic, and I think positions us exactly where we need to be for a new president coming in. So special thanks to Jason Nicholas and Dr. Dan Cullen who have worked collaboratively many hours to put together something that happened very, very quickly. Maybe one of the quickest things I've seen happen on this campus. So fantastic job. President Schuling, you are doing a tremendous job, and want to thank you for your efforts in stepping in and continuing to lead the university down the path.
Thank you. And rather than repeat anything, I'll say yes. I agree with everything you had to say just now. And I also want to thank those of you who came today to this meeting. I want to particularly thank the students for coming today and speaking with us, sharing their research, and requesting us to pursue further recognition as a tree campus. It's really wonderful to see you come here and talk to us, and it's great to see all the faces. It's wonderful to have a full room. Thank you.
Trustee Mahaney?
Thank you. Ditto, well said, Vice Chair Hart. Couple of things I wanted to just touch on. First of all, Dr. Brady, I don't know if Dwight's still here. Dwight, I just wanted to say thank you for all your work during trying times. I know that we've had a lot of challenges, but I think it's a bright new day here at Northern, and some of that credit, much of that credit goes to you. I had the opportunity to have lunch yesterday with Dr. Mungian, and I'm really excited to work with you and continue the conversations. The child care issue, I just want to, I believe Trustee Savoy touched on this, but the board recognizes that there's a challenge here, and we are committed to coming up with the right solution. And I think if you just give us a little bit of time, you're going to find that we got some pretty exciting solutions that we're working on. I don't want to, throw out guarantees at this point in time, but I'm pretty excited about the direction the conversation is going, and I hope that everyone that's involved, the task force, I know they put a lot of time and effort and energy into it. Just be patient with us, and let's try to work together to solve this one. I also want to congratulate Paul Mann on his recognition as Distinguished Faculty Award recipient, and it's so appropriate, in my opinion, that Dr. Mann receives this award. I had the opportunity to work firsthand with him when COVID first came about, and we were so fortunate to have Dr. Mann on our faculty because of his expertise. We were, I mean, when COVID first struck, you recall, we were cleaning shopping bags, and there was so much unknown about COVID, and Dr. Mann helped us to get our arms around it and come up with working solutions, if you will, and processes to deal with it on campus, and I'm really grateful for that. What I'm also grateful for, and that also I think I want to say thank you, is to Steve Young and Tricia Kinley for sponsoring, I don't know if that's the right word, but I guess I'll use it, for sponsoring the Distinguished Faculty Award and funding it. Thank you. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of people to be recognized at this meeting. Trustee Emeritus recipients, really great to be able to give that to Rick and Thomas. Well-deserved. I was really fortunate, as was Tammy, and I think she'd agree with me, and several others are on this table, to be on the board at the same time as Thomas and Rick, and I learned so much from them, from leadership to team building to consensus building to strategic thinking, and so thank you for all you did for us, and your impact is still felt. The one thing I wanted to touch on more so is the topic of change. Over the last 2 days, a common thread that I've heard is about Northern and how we're addressing change. And that was illustrated when we went over to the Frost. We took a tour of the Frost, the acronym, President Schuling, Forensic Research. I always get it wrong. Observation. Anyways, That program was started in 2017. It was started from scratch. It was all Dr. Schuling's initiative, really, that got it off the ground. And she recruited Dr. Harris to run it. That program, in basically 4 short years, and despite COVID, now has 69 majors. They're ready to launch a master's program. It's just a great success story, and it's an example of how we embraced change. We saw an opportunity, and we seized upon it. It shows how we can be nimble and do some pretty cool things around here.
I just got to say, while it might have been my idea, I could never have done it without Dale Kapla and Mike Bath. We visited every body farm in the country. Could never have done it alone. So
well,
I have to recognize them.
Yes.
Don't mean to butt in. Sorry.
No, but I'm glad you did. And right now in higher education, I think we all know there's a major paradigm shift underway. Demographics, especially in Michigan and the Midwest, are not in our favor. Access to knowledge is more open than ever before. The delivery of education is undergoing dramatic change. There's an ever-increasing pace in knowledge accumulation in society in general. And it's easy for us to say that, to just kind of, not to say stick our heads in the sand, but to sit back and kind of just go with the traditional flow. We can't do that. And the reason I bring this up is because we just adopted a strategic plan. That strategic plan acknowledges this. I'm so excited to see that plan having been developed and now being implemented. That plan came together in 4 or 5 months? But it involved input from hundreds of people, and it's reflected in the plan. The plan creates some tremendous opportunities for Northern. And I look forward to seeing that plan being further defined and developed and seizing upon these opportunities. It's time for us to take some risk. It's time for us to invest. We're doing that, and I'm just excited to keep moving this plan forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Fatante?
I'm going to keep it short. I know we're running late. First of all, I want to welcome Missy to the board. I think she's going to be a great addition. And also welcome back the former trustees that are here. I see Jim Haberman left, Steve Mitchell left, Thomas Zerbuchen left, but I still see Rick Pop, Scott Holman, Steve Edamini. So just welcome back. It's so great to see you guys. I hope I didn't miss anyone. I was also going to talk about the tour we had yesterday of the Forensic Anthropology Research Lab. I ditto everything that Trustee Mahaney has said. It was just so interesting. And I was also going to talk about the accomplishments of the team that put together the interim strategic plan. It was great, and everything that Bob said. And I look forward to the next few years. I think there's some great things coming.
Jason. Give Jason Nicholas back.
Jason Nicholas was awesome, and he always is.
Thank you. Trustee Sepinen?
I want to congratulate the seniors for all the hard work that's getting them onto the stage tomorrow. They had the additional obstacle of COVID restrictions to overcome for over half their university experience. Thanks to their focus, and as a Finn, I can say this, their SISU, they made it. Also, special thanks to the dedicated faculty and staff who endured the same COVID challenge to make this all happen to our students. I also want to draw special attention and to thank all the members of the Sustainability Advisory Council, the Environmental Justice students, and the members of the Carbon Neutrality Task Force for taking on the major challenge facing NMU and our world community with this ever-developing environmental disaster of climate change. Their effort in charting a course for this institution to be carbon neutral by 2050 and to operate in a sustainable way is making NMU a regional leader in the effort to minimize the environmental damage that climate change is bringing our way. It's never easy to set a course that's almost 30 years down the road, and to stay focused. But these individuals, students, faculty, and staff have started us on the right path to making and meeting this challenge. I want to thank them all for their vision and their hard work.
Thank you. Trustee Morgan.
Thank you, Chair. It is phenomenal to be here for graduation, sort of a full graduation where we have events and activities and we get to meet the students and really celebrate their achievements. This is really exciting to be a part of. I do want to comment on one less celebratory but more serious issue looking ahead, and it's the recent temporary suspension of a student who was suspended after they sent a survey to students soliciting feedback on Nmu's handling of mental health on campus. Following this event, I heard from students and alumni who were troubled by what many viewed as an injustice to the student. I was asked a lot of questions, and we've had further conversations with leadership here, and I really appreciate President Schuling and board members taking a serious look at this issue to understand it and really discuss it in a thorough manner. This closer look has given me an understanding that there may have been some level of violation of campus policy. But my larger concern, however, is our university's response to this student. I believe reprimands should be progressive or graduated in nature as opposed to any level of harsh or heavy-handed seeming response. I do think we have some history at this institution of coming down pretty hard on students, maybe not necessarily in terms of final effect, but in terms of tone and initial response. And I do think we need to look at changing that approach. I think if we are, I asked this question of, are we going to be an institution that focuses on punishment, or are we going to be an institution that looks holistically and individually with an eye toward restorative justice and a kinder approach? And my hope would be that we would look toward a kinder approach to addressing student conduct issues going forward. So I hope that this can be an opportunity to learn and to engage with students, certainly this student who is passionate about trying to help improve mental health services. I think we need to talk about mental health. We need to encourage students to talk about mental health and to ensure that they feel they'll be supported when they do. And I know the conduct charges here are not associated with our actual handling of mental health, but more with the approach taken by the student. I do understand that. I do understand our student conduct rules here at the institution, but I fear that the response by the university has conveyed a message that is inconsistent with this idea. So I understand there's more to every situation than what's perceived or that's out there in the public, and the intention is certainly never to convey that kind of message. I again worry that that may have been the effect or the feeling by some. So in the same manner, I think it appears that the students' intentions were not intended to garner controversy or attention. And I think if we're going to ensure students want to be here at Northern, we need to take a kinder approach to how we work with them. So I believe the remedy for this situation could be something like, requiring the student be engaged with us as we look forward and look ahead to how do we improve mental health services on campus. I think we all share that goal and that priority. I certainly won't try and suggest what the exact course of action should be by any means, but I think a more restorative justice approach, a more engaged approach, is something that I would love to see on issues like this going forward. We have really amazing students. We want to encourage them. I certainly was a very passionate student myself on campus, and I understand how sometimes passion and care can come out in different ways. So my hope is just with a positive outlook, looking at how do we encourage and foster that engagement? And I really want to be a part of that and a part of this amazing institution, working with our really phenomenal students, faculty, and staff. So I'll leave it there. I'm very much looking forward to the continued celebrations of the achievements of our campus and all the good things happening. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Holmquist.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think being last, sometimes you're the last person before adjournment, so I'll try to be brief. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say how excited I am to serve in this role. As an NMU alum, a Marquette County resident, I really am very passionate about NMU and its success and here to support our students. I want to thank everyone who's participated in my orientation. Thank you to my fellow trustees, NMU administration, and staff. I've learned a lot and look forward to continuing that education. I still feel a little bit like I'm back in college, so learning once again. So much has changed since I graduated from NMU for the first time 20 years ago, but much is still the same. I think NMU's commitment to their students and their success is still a top priority, which is what I believe makes NMU so special. But I have been so impressed with the advancements and innovation, the plans for future programming and expansion. So really excited to be a part of the future here at NMU. I echo a lot of comments that were made by some of my fellow trustees. Really impressed by our tour we had yesterday of the Frost facility. Impressed with that interim strategic plan that has been put forward. And particularly Trustee Mahaney's comments around taking a look at some of the childcare issues that are a stressor here within our community. So again, thank you all. And I also want to say congratulations to our graduates and our Student Achievement Award recipient winners. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Holmquist. I would like to just add a couple of comments and we'll wrap up because I know we're running late. And I apologize for the meeting going as long. I don't know, we had just had a lot of stuff on the agenda, so we'll try and do better next time. But I do want to, if I could, introduce three people in the audience that are very important to me. One is Tricia, my wife, Tricia Kinley, and my two daughters, Jennifer and Stephanie, here, and they've sat through the whole meeting. So thank you for being here. Yeah. It's great to have them here. I haven't had all three of them up here for a meeting, and it's very special to me. I also want to thank Carrie and her team for putting all this together. You know, sometimes it seems seamless what happens, and we go from this to that. There's a lot goes into this, and as chair, I know because I'm involved in a lot of it with them, and I really appreciate the team and all the effort to make this go well for us. And just to conclude, I would say that by my math, and this is rough math, but Andre could have swum 7 miles since we started this meeting. If he's doing 15-minute miles, yeah, it's right about, so 7. So I don't know how much you trained, but we might have got you out of having to swim 7 miles today. But again, I want to thank everybody for being here. And if there's no more business to come before the body, I move that we adjourn. All those in favor? All opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.